Week 16 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few kickers I look to start this week. The first guy, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So this Eagle team having a great year. Jake Elliott getting many opportunities. And this week, a decent matchup versus the Giants, where their defense definitely improved over the last few weeks. And Ben don't break type of unit. I think Jake Elliott will get multiple opportunities. He's gone out there with 7 or more fantasy points, at least over the last 3 out of 4 weeks. And this week versus the Giants, I think Jake Elliott 2 or 3 opportunities, a few extra points. And this is a big game for Philadelphia with them and Dallas neck and neck in the division. So they want to win this division, get some home games in the playoffs. Here's Philadelphia. And Jake Elliott's been a good kicker from 45-50, pretty much automatic. So he's a start once again this week. Next start, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. So Moody, he's been a part of a great offense this season with the 49ers, where the last few weeks it's pretty much been extra points for the most part. But this week versus a don't break type of defense and one of the better defenses in the league, and a possible Super Bowl matchup versus the Ravens. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to kickers on the season. So the last few weeks here for Moody, week 13 at Philly 6, week 14 versus Seattle 4, week 15 one of the better games for him in a while 10. So this week versus Baltimore I think could be one of the best games of the season for Moody, where this Baltimore defense, like I said, they don't give up a lot of touchdowns, and they're a scrappy unit, especially in the red zone, where this ball game's going to have points, I believe, but not always touchdowns. So Moody is a start this week. The next start, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. So Tyler Bass, the last few weeks, he's gotten back on track for this Buffalo Bill team, and he's been one of the better kickers in the league as well. Here's Tyler Bass. So the last few weeks, week 11 versus the Jets 17, week 12 at Philly 12, week 14 at Kansas City 8, and week 15 versus Dallas 7. So this week an indoor game, Saturday Night Football at the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Tyler Bass could go out there once again, get a few opportunities. We know he's got a big boot, up to 55 yards. He's pretty much been a kicker that could get it through the uprights. And this is a game where I think Buffalo once again goes out there and puts up a lot of points, and Tyler Bass will be a beneficiary of that as well. So he's a start. Next start, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. So Money Mac, he's been on the list the last few weeks, and he's been a good kicker for the majority of the season once again. So week 13 at Jacksonville 13, week 14 versus Indianapolis 10, and week 15 versus Minnesota 9 fantasy points. So this week, another good matchup at Pittsburgh. The only thing, obviously, the weather could definitely be a concern Saturday afternoon with heavy winds or even just poor rain or bad weather altogether. But Evan McPherson has a big boot. He's got unlimited range as well, like most of these kickers I mentioned on this list. And once again, versus a don't break defense, especially in Heinz Field, I think Evan McPherson goes out there and has another good performance. And the fifth and final kicker I look to start this week's Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. So Jason Sanders, it's been a solid season for him, especially the last few weeks. He's been one of the best kickers in fantasy football, with 4 out of 5 games with double-digit fantasy points for Sanders. Week 13 at Washington 10, week 14 versus Tennessee 9, and week 15 versus the Jets 12 fantasy points. So this week, another home game for this Miami Dolphin team, which is always a good thing. Great weather and all that. And I know the Dallas Cowboys are coming to town, and they give up the second least amount of fantasy points to kickers on the season. But Sanders has been accurate. This team's had a lot of drives in the red zone and stalled out as well. And this week versus Dallas, I still think Miami's going to put up points. I know this Cowboy defense is good, but last week we saw the Bills have a monster ball game versus them. And I think this could be a similar type of game in terms of Miami going up and down the field, giving Sanders opportunities once again. So I think Sanders has another good game. So that's a few kickers I look to start for week 16 of the fantasy football season.